In 2008, the Chicago History Museum launched FashionNext, a design competition featuring couture garments inspired by selected pieces from the exhibition Chic Chicago, Couture Treasures from the Chicago History Museum. 5 established local designers were asked to create contemporary versions of couture inspired by the Chic Chicago gowns. Of the 5 designers, 3 finalists were picked. The winning design of FashionNext became a permanent part of the collection of the Chicago History Museum and was part of the Chic Chicago exhibition in its final months. Now, see the finalist designs come to life, from sketch to runway, and see who becomes the winner of the Chicago History Museum's first design competition, FashionNext. The designers' gowns are done and have been turned into the Chicago History Museum for judging. On the judging panel is Tim Long, curator of the costume collection at the Chicago History Museum, Gaynor Strachan-Chun, senior vice president of marketing at Art Network Ovation TV, Iris Wang, director of design at Brentano Fabrics, Carrie Lannon, the founding co-chair of the Mayor's Fashion Council, and finally, Andrea Kalish-Reinders, chair of the Department of Fashion Design at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Jermikko Shoshanna's entry is a 2-piece evening gown based on Charles James' 1954 butterfly dress. The panels of fabric have all been cut into 6-inch wide strips that are folded over on each other and then stitched together all the way down to the floor. It's easy to see the clear connections that Jermikko made with the inspiration piece. Jermikko stayed true to her design aesthetic by adding a coat to her FashionNext entry.
I think that she had quite an interesting approach to the way that she used the fabrics. It was very fresh, and to think that she could do quite a bit with the interior fabric and how she used it was pretty amazing.
I think the interpretation from her sketch to the actual garment, there's a little bit of misinterpretation, or whether or not she didn't take it far enough. This is very different than the drawing.
It was, just a fabulous gown that definitely could be worn by a real woman. So it was designed definitely to be worn as opposed to just be for a runway, and that I thought was very clever of her.
The interesting things about this design, to begin with, was she had kept the cleanliness of the front of the James dress and then had done a very modern representation of the back.
After careful scrutiny, the judges move on to Melissa's gown.
So this is Melissa Serpico cam-ho. Fullness comes off of the side, not directly down the center back. It comes this way. There's some interesting pleats here, so it would hug the arm and the shoulder.
I almost think that the dress is too long, that she's extended it, beyond this.
I think Melissa chose the most difficult gown as her inspiration. The Comme des Garçons is definitely not a gown for everybody's tastes. And I think what she managed to do is translate that into something very feminine and much more kind of wearable for more women than necessarily the Comme des Garçons was.
This is a beautiful angle, which is very asymmetrical.
I do think it's a beautiful fabric. It also has wool in it, so it does drape better than the polyester.
Melissa Serpico chose a very soft interior fabric, and I feel that she was successful in terms of using the fabric to create a soft feminine shape, and then picking up with the ruffles on the side and onto the bottom accented the asymmetry of the garment that there was.
Some of the judges have been wowed by Melissa's convertible dress, but others aren't quite as sold.
One arm lying back, kind of like you're dragging your victims along with you when you're wearing the garment.
But with no time to waste, it was Price Walton's turn to have their dress critiqued.
Price Walton are always inspired by period dress, specifically the late 19th century.
I feel that Price Walton's designs were very sophisticated and very cleanly finished, clean-edged, very geometric in terms of form and shape and the way they use the patterning of the corded fabric.
To me, it's incredible craftsmanship.
I think this gown just blew you away from the minute that it came in. The craftsmanship, the way that they had, again, used the fabrics in cut in a manner that these fabrics were never intended.
If we were on a desert island and they gave me some leaves, I'd still make a dress.
Yet came up with what, again, was an incredibly wearable gown for kind of like, for the modern day.
It's very well balanced. The coordination of the very light sheer fabric on the top and the heavier diagonal kind of design that followed on the bottom on the skirt complemented each other very well. I think it was weighted well in the way the two came together.
I think if any woman wearing that gown would feel like, to quote the old phrase, the belle of the ball.
Our panel of judges made their decisions based on design, inspiration, fabric selection, and overall innovation. After the scores were tallied, it was time for the finalists' designs to be presented in an extravagant fashion show held at the Chicago History Museum.
For the first time, the Chicago History Museum has launched FashionNext, a design competition featuring couture garments inspired by one of 5 selected pieces from the exhibition Chic Chicago, Couture Treasures from the Chicago History Museum. So now, let's meet the finalists. And I'd like to introduce you to the designers. Please welcome Melissa Serpico. Jermikko Shoshanna. And Roger Price and Tommy Walton of Price Walton. To announce the winner of FashionNext, please welcome Gaynor Strachan-Chun, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Ovation TV and a FashionNext judge. Gaynor?
Throughout history, fashion has been one of the most accessible forms of art and creative expression, and we've definitely seen that demonstrated again beautifully here this evening. Chicago has a rich and diverse cultural landscape, and tonight I think we can safely say that New York had better watch out because Chicago designers are further staking their claim in the world of couture. We're not keeping suspense any longer, and without further ado, now that I have the envelope, the winner of FashionNext is Price Walton.
This is really funny because this has really been kind of a dream of ours, and something that when this was presented to us, there was no way we would have said no to this project. Absolutely no way. And we really did want to do something that would be part of our legacy that we could leave to Chicago and the Chicago History Museum so that people could see that in Chicago, couture is alive and well and living in Chicago.
Thank you all very much.
we are truly humbled that we were deemed worthy by the esteemed panel of judges, and it's just one of the best experiences, one of the highlights of our career.
From Chicago, one of the rising fashion capitals of the world, this has been Fashion Next.